Shabbat Shalom. At least I hope it will be a Shabbat Shalom. This has been a very difficult week in our nation, and I pray that not only will cooler heads prevail, but that justice and peace will prevail. As we read this week's Torah portion, Parshat Shmot, we see the children of Israel in the very first few verses of the Torah portion thrust into Egyptian slavery by a ruler who did not know Joseph or who did not know what Joseph had accomplished. And it's rather striking just how quickly the children of Israel, who had been dwelling in peace in their own territory, not bothering anybody, we would assume, find themselves tossed into a horrible situation, and we see the chaos. And I think that many of us feel that same way about the events that happened this week. That we wonder how we ended up in this situation, how things in this country changed so much, and how a place that we recognized and loved and felt so at home has become such a scary place. But we do see in the seeds of this week's Torah portion, of course, the seeds of redemption. We hear about Moses, we see Moses grow, and we see God speaking to Moses at the burning bush. But we know from not just this week's Torah portion, but Va'era and Bo in the coming 2 weeks, and Beshalach the following week, that the process of leaving Egyptian slavery is not an easy one. It requires an incredible amount of hard work, and at least in the story that we have in the book of Shmot, some pyrotechnics and some miracles and extraordinary chastisements. But what we do learn is that the process is a very long one, and that even though we may have gotten ourselves out of this particular situation, that the journey to the promised land, or of making this country to the promised land that it needs to be, is a long one. When we take a look at the very end of the book of Deuteronomy, which we'll get to at Simchat Torah, the children of Israel are still not in the land of Israel. It's a very long journey. We have to want it badly, and we need to want it for our country, in order to bring healing and understanding and peace, and more than ever, justice. This week at Bethel, the Heights Synagogue, we mark the following Yortzeit observances: Charles Robert Brummel, Joe Silver, Sylvia Tucker, Rosalind Louise Berkman, Morris Gewirtz, Joseph Savino, Seth Litovsky, Alfred Adler, Louis Jacobs, Harry Gelfand, Mary Lucita Ball, Harry Feldman, and Heinz Gellis. Again, wishing everybody a peaceful Shabbat.